Oh, welcome back to the Best Friends podcast. I know it's been a minute. You probably know who we are by now. I'm Lee Marie, and this is my best friend Robin. And we're back. Thanks for tuning in. Little life updates. I am in prep. I am 6 weeks out from my show, so that's fun. We are currently doing trials week at F45, which is the gym that Robin and I both currently work at. And that just means we're doing a bunch of tests and seeing where we place worldwide, which is really fun. My last assessment, stage 2, I was in 254th place. Stage 3 has not posted their results yet, so we will see.
200 and what?
254th place.
And I don't know how many this includes, but there are 1,800 open F45 locations around the world. So guessing that's
just a female.
She's in the top
female
top tier. Also,
top 5%.
also since we did our last podcast, like big life update, like you weren't working for F45 full time then.
I'm working for F45 full time, guys. If you are local to Kansas City, or if you are visiting, please come to Olathe and train with me, or come to Zona Rosa, and Robin will do a workout with you. If you're not, I promise there's probably an F45 in your city. So look it up, see what it's like, and let us know, because we love it and we would love to hear if you love it as well. What is going on in your life?
All family stuff. My son just got engaged to his longtime love of 7.5 years. He flew to Puerto Rico last week.
Can we have her on the podcast?
Yeah. And it's a surprise her. So they're getting married, so that's super exciting. And then also my daughter is expecting another baby, and we found out that it's another little boy, so that makes our count 7 grandsons, 3 granddaughters.
Amazing. Seriously, have some of your kids on the podcast, because we're like how I define success in relationships.
That's one thing I've done really well is children.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And your kids are doing really well.
Good humans. So
let's have a podcast on parenting.
I'm here for it. I feel pretty much like an expert in that.
Okay.
I feel solid with advice that I can give on parenting.
I will come up with the questions. Okay. I'll put out a question box. If you guys are following us on Instagram, if you're not, you should be, because we're hilarious. And if you
humble brag.
You laugh.
I always laugh like you, though. We're so down.
Yeah, I'll put up a question box if you guys have questions on parenting, because Robin has successfully parented 5 kids, who are now 4 of them are with their, intended partners for life or partners for life. So super successful in relationships.
Yeah.
This lady right here.
Super proud.
So I feel like we've teased this episode for quite a while. And this is going to be a little bit of a series, because we don't do anything halfway, and we just love talking about our friendship and our journey together. And actually, we have not always been this good of friends. We have always been, like, ever since we met, we've always been like chummy, I feel like. Yeah. And then well, we can just start. Like, when we first met, it was very much a trainer-client relationship. And I was very careful to hold that boundary. I'm kind of weird, though, like with training, I am very personable with my clients, but I'm also very guarded. So I just have this way of being able to relate to and chat up with my clients at the same time. Literally, there is a wall there that is a social boundary, right? I'm very good at keeping work at work and keeping my personal things at home, right? So I think you need to have that balance as a trainer, because it's really important that you connect, and you can't connect with someone in any job really without chatting about life and kind of being a little like talking about your struggles and joking about your failures and talking about your hopes and dreams. And so you have to be able to do that in a way without being, I don't know, you have to be able to have that work boundary. And so I remember thinking, well, we'll kind of get ahead of ourselves, but like when you did finally start working for the company too, it was sort of like this relief of, wow, I can finally like talk to her like a friend kind of thing, and not be so trainer client relationship kind of thing. But when we first met, I was a trainer at a certain company. We're not going to talk about names here. We're just going to tell our story here. It was based out of Kansas City, and I had started training there right before the shutdown. And you were when it was a brand new gym. You were one of the first people that signed up.
Yep, I signed up before they opened, so I signed up in October and the gym opened on January 28th. The very first meeting I ever had with Lee Marie was before the gym opened, they did balance and nutrition check-ins. So they hooked us up with the trainers or the nutritionists who just to kind of get us excited about the gym opening, whatever. So we were supposed to meet at the location, but it snowed really bad, remember? There was a big snowstorm.
Yeah.
And so she
Yep.
FaceTimed me, and that was the first time I ever met her. And at that time, she wasn't going to be one of our trainers. She was only the nutritionist. You weren't even
Really?
yeah.
Oh.
Or they had yes,
Yes.
because remember, like it was right before they opened that one girl.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
because you're like, well, maybe sometime I'll come up and work out with you. So there, you had no intention
Wow.
of working up there. So
because I was a very part-time trainer at a different location. And then right before this gym opened, they had somehow found out that the trainer they hired for all the evening shifts was just not going to work out. So, I was contacted and offered, a pretty good amount of hourly money because it was a long drive for me. I had to drive about 45 minutes to get there, 40-ish, whatever, depending on weather, really. And so to make it like worth it for gas. And so then I took over as the evening trainer and we opened. And do you remember the first class you had with me?
I do remember. I was slightly terrified because she was like intense. Like freaking intense.
I still am. Nobody's laughing at my watch.
But like I literally, like I was terrified.
That's so funny. And motivated.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I came back the next day. So
okay. So how long did you just train with me?
And so we opened in January, not counting the shutdown. Like so, I started working in September. So
okay. So then when you finally got the job.
Yeah.
I was so excited. So excited.
Yeah.
And then you were there in the office in the evenings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you just split? Yeah, you did split shift,
yeah.
And then I was there in the evenings. And we worked together for how long before I moved?
Your first day at your new place was my birthday, so November. So 3 months.
Okay, so 3 months. Wow.
Yeah.
But in those 3 months, I feel like we got to know each other pretty. Like we had a fun time.
We had
a fun time.
Oh my gosh.
So
we annoyed some people.
We annoyed some people. Yeah. There were definitely okay. So it was during that time that some weird things started to happen with this company, and I just didn't I sort of focus on the job, and I always just assume that everyone else is focused on the job. And when I have a job to do, I want to be the best person at the job. And so there were some just little things that would happen that I was a little confusing to me. I remember having a like an evaluation with the two, like the CEO of the company and the fitness director of the company, and they had one point to talk to me about, and it was I was great on all the points, but the one point was that I didn't give modifications. And the way that they found this out was that they would send out secret shoppers to pretend to take the fitness sessions or whatever, but they were really like coaches or like other people from like that didn't even go to the gym, that they would pull in and be like, hey, watch for this point, this point, this point. I mean, we used to have that with all the companies. I used to work for the Dairy Queen. They did the exact same thing. They would have people that would come in, they would order, and then they would time us, or they would check for certain points or whatever. But we were always told that would be happening. So anyways, they said that I didn't have modifications. And I remember the boss, he talked to me for like 10 minutes straight on breaking down how much money we would lose as a direct result from me not making modifications, and like that just crushed me. Like I left the gym thinking like I'm the worst trainer. Partly confusing because I always gave modifications, and I even remember asking you like,
Yep.
have you ever heard me not give a modification?
Yep.
Because I was like, am I just like completely blocking this out? Am I not giving enough? Like I would give one modification for pretty much all the exercises. So that was a little weird to get that feedback. That was the first indication that something was off. And then I don't know that I ever really noticed anything else at that first location. Do you remember anything else that was sketchy that was happening at that point?
No.
So then a few months in, we opened another location and I was offered a full-time lead trainer position, which was in a whole different area. And I decided to take it. It was a huge raise. But I was pretty heartbroken to be leaving Robin and my girls at this gym because I had already like bonded with them pretty well. I was their first trainer. I had a great relationship with all of them and all of that, but it just seemed to be the best thing to do for my future. So I took that position. We had a huge party. Everyone was amazing. You guys got me so much stuff. Like I felt so
Invited your family.
loved. My family came up. It was amazing. Pretty much that was, and then that was it. It was a big goodbye.
Well, when we knew she was leaving, I was fairly like new to the location I was at, but I did ask if I could transfer with her.
I remember that.
We fought really hard
Mhm.
to try
Well,
to get
and I believe we
me.
were promised that.
We were promised, but yes.
So when I was leaving, it was like in a few months kind of thing you were gonna come.
Yeah.
And but the deal was that when we opened, there was a club manager that was going to be very temporary there, and she was going to open her own gym, and so she was just going to get practice. And so then she was going to be very temporary, maybe a month or two, and then Robin was going to come and be there. And so not a big deal. We had nothing in writing, whatever, but that was me leaving, like knowing that, like we had already established this bond. So it was kind of like I was counting on that, right? And so I'm
And not just because of our friendship, but because we work really, really well together.
Yeah.
Like we are like such a power team when it comes to sales and the training aspect of it, right? I would turn a trial over to her, she would turn them back over to me, we would sell them. Like between the two of us, hardly anybody walked away from us. Hardly anybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, we were fired. We should work together again.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so I moved to this new gym. It's the same thing. Like I'm meeting with members, doing balance meetings and stuff before we even open. I am their first trainer. Now I'm their lead trainer. So I'm coaching between 6 to 7, I think, classes a day. I still had to drive about half an hour to get to this gym, and we had a 4:30 a.m. class. And so I was getting up at 3:15 in the morning. I did that for several months until I finally, after several months of, at least a couple of months of coaching 1 to 3 people in this class, I finally talked them into canceling it. And then we would just have the 5 a.m. And that helped because then I could actually get up at 3:45, and that was helpful. And then leave at 4:30. And so I worked there for about 6 months, I want to say, maybe 9 months. Okay. And I loved my girls. I was a little frustrated that you were not being moved ever. Just kept being put off.
And we kept asking every couple of months. I would ask, and not yet. No, it was all based on this other girls' location opening.
Which it's stuff is delayed. That happens. And so I do think that they lost a lot of sales potentially because you're just so awesome and we're awesome together. But anyways, the only thing that I can think of at that location that was a little odd was that I was all of the sudden, well, we used to do Facebook Live workouts, and I would always do Tuesdays. So Tuesdays were my days. And it was brutal because we did them in the break, which we had one break in the morning. And so on Tuesdays, when we had the one break, I would go on Facebook Live and I would do the workout while coaching it, literally all of the reps with everyone while coaching it. So, and then I would do that, and then I would go on to teach the next class, and it was literally just solid. So, but I would do that, and I did it with a great attitude, and I feel like, and I mean, I feel like you've seen me coach. I'm not a bad coach. I'm just gonna say I'm not bad.
She's phenomenal.
So thank you. So anyways, about I don't know when it was, but at a certain point it was announced that only the fitness director was allowed to do Facebook Lives at that point. And I found out later from someone that they just didn't want me doing them. I think I just didn't figure that out. I was just like, okay, whatever. And I was kind of glad to not have to do them to her because they were brutal. Like you were literally coaching and doing the workout at the same time. And there was never more than like 2 or 3 people watching. But for some reason, we always did Facebook Live. Anyways, yeah. So I find out later it was because they didn't want me coaching them. I'm not really sure why. And then, um, so I just remember finding out from, one of the really high up people that I was just happened to run into at the gym, just finding out that they were going to let the fitness director go, out of the position. They were going to replace her with someone else, and that was huge. I remember finding out that news, and I immediately went home and I wrote up an entire week of workouts because I thought, I don't know when this is happening. I don't know if it's already happened, but I want to be ready. If we don't have workouts for next week, I'm going to be ready. So I wrote up an entire list of workouts, modifications, everything. And at this point, we were getting workouts by text every Sunday for the week. And so all of the trainers were in a group text. We would get the workouts by text. Anyways, I programmed them out. I had them on a document. I had them ready to go just in case. They did announce a new fitness director. And I remember she gave us the workouts. I think she gave us the first 2 days or something like that. And then like that week, we kind of would get a day at a time, written out. And so that happened. But then at the same time, I was offered the option to move gyms and take over the gym that in Lee Summit. I'm just gonna say we were working at the gym in Lee Summit. And it was an option. Like the boss was like, "Hey, here's the option. I'll give you a raise to move over there. I know it's not convenient for you because of where you live and everything, and if you want to stay with like those ladies or your girls, like whatever." And it was a tough decision because those girls were my girls. And they still hold a very special place in my heart. All of the girls from each different gym, there are people from each different gym that still hold a very special place in my heart. And if you are one of those ladies and you're watching this, you hold a special place in my heart still, from training you, especially those of you there that I was your first trainer. Like nothing can replace that, right? And I just had that with 2 of the locations where I was your first trainer. And there's just something really special about that. But I did decide to make the move. And I remember this being one of the first times that I was really pissed off at you. And it was total like misunderstanding, I think. But it was this time, right? Because I thought,
Whoa.
I don't know, what did I think? Why was I so pissed off at you?
Because you thought that I agreed to go to Lee Summit, and this was before
Instead
they
of
offered.
coming.
Yes, and I was going to
It was
Lee
before
Summit.
I got the
Yes,
offer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I can tell you that, hey, they're gonna ask you to come too,
Mm-hmm.
but I told them I will only do it if Lee comes, and they made.
They made an announcement and I saw the announcement. That's why I was so pissed off. So I saw an announcement on Facebook. Okay, this would happen all the time. And this is how I just learned to just be quick on your feet. This is happening at both gyms actually. Members would come up and ask me about something that I had no idea was happening. It would either be a promo or a challenge or something, and I would literally just fake that I knew what it was. And then I'd go on Facebook or go on my email or something and figure out what was going on because they would never tell the trainers.
That was classic.
Oh yeah, it would happen over and over and over again. But I'd never seen anything with Robin, and I didn't know that you weren't allowed to tell me. But like I saw that she was moving. It was some big announcement, like congratulations, she's moving to take over this club. And that was the first time that in my head I was still counting on you always coming to work with me. So that was the first time that I was like, wait, what? She's not actually going to come work with me, and I was heartbroken and so mad. And I still remember the day we talked about it. We were working out together at a different gym, and then I think I don't know what, did I get the email while we were working out or something about the offer or something? I don't know how that worked out. But then I got the offer, and then like it was gonna happen. We were both gonna finally work together. So then that happened. And
Well, everything that happened with me and that transition with me and me being asked all happened while you were on vacation with your family.
that is true.
So
That is very true.
we weren't
Mhm.
even like really communicating because you were on vacation,
Yep,
right? And
yep.
then I was also told don't say anything to anyone because nothing had been done. This big move was about to be
Mhm.
made.
Mhm,
Big move was about to be made.
mhm.
And so, I was gonna do whatever it took to work with her and the way they laid it out so pretty.
Mhm.
It's like it was a done deal and it wasn't. So
Right, but I do think my being on vacation probably did have something to do with
Sure,
that.
yeah.
So, but it was just unfortunate that it was announced before I was let know. But that was kind of a trend, and I think that is kind of a red flag to look out for with any sort of company that you're working for. Is it's very very important that you let your employees know, especially if they're working at a gym or something like that, where like your trainers need to know everything that's going on. And where I work right now, my club manager will let me know what the promo is for the month. She'll let me know what the promo is, like before we start promoting it. I know ahead of time when there are challenges coming up, like the current challenge that we're doing right now with F45. We have so much information and resources available to us coaches on how to coach it, on how they're going to be assessed, on how to plug things into their app, on when there's going to be the next one where they're going to get reassessed. All of these things, like there's so much information, but even about the workouts that we're given, there's so much information to us available. And there's no way that we would ever just be texted workouts the day
No.
before.
Well,
kind
and
of a
here's
thing.
the thing with who we work for now,
Mhm.
it's legitimate.
Right.
They value their employees. We are provided with information well in advance, so we're prepared and we know how to execute it in a really good, smart way. It also allows us to engage with our members and get them pumped up for something that's coming. We don't just pull something out of our hat and say, "Hey, this sounds like a good idea," and then launch it.
Mhm. And
That's
then
it, there's it's everything
backpedal.
that happens is very well
Mhm,
thought out.
mhm,
So
mhm. Yeah, and which I really appreciate. And I love to know that the trainer brain in me loves to know the intention behind not just a workout, but behind an entire phase.
yeah,
And so with F45, we are given phases and they go for 4 weeks. And there's a purpose behind the phase. So our last phase was a base phase, and it was like setting the base of your fitness. Right now, what we're in is a build phase. And so our whole purpose is building strength, is building power, is building aerobic capacity. And so we're working with a little bit heavier weights, a little bit lower reps, a little bit more explosive movements, a little bit more working on our base of conditioning, setting those goals, tracking heart rate zones and things during the workout with a purpose that is more than just go as hard as you can, kill yourself, burn as many calories as you can, and whoever burns the most wins.
It's very intentional. The programming is very intentional.
Yeah, and so then looking ahead, we know what block is coming next, what phase is coming next, and we know how to coach you to actually make progress within a year, so you can actually grow with your fitness. So, I mean, with fitness, it's you're gonna change through different seasons of your life. You're gonna go to different gyms. You're gonna do different styles of workouts, but the best case scenario, if you like group fitness and if you do well in an environment where the workout is programmed for you, you have people working out around you and you have a coach leading you through the workout, whether it's CrossFit, whether it's F45, whether it's like Orange Theory or Burn or some a gym like that, even like a Pilates class or a yoga class or whatever like that, you want to be at a gym that actually takes your progress into consideration when they're doing their programming. So it's not just a repeat cycle of workouts that change for variety, but don't actually have you growing with your strength, with your mobility, with your recovery. You want to be able to recover faster and faster because your conditioning is getting better. So things where you can actually track progress and growth wherever you're at in your journey, because that's applicable to anyone. Right. So you don't just want to show up to the gym. I mean, when you first start, just showing up to the gym and having fun, that's great. Just having a variety so you're not doing the same movements over and over and over, that's great. But as you progress in the gym, you want to have intention with your workouts so that you can make progress and actually improve over the long haul, over your whole entire life. And that is my soapbox on working out. Do we miss anything? Like looking back, can you think of any like little stories you want to talk about?
The
About
one
our-
thing that I can talk about, and I don't know if you know this,
Ooh,
I think
I love
maybe you
this.
do, but before, okay, so you had moved to Olathe. We were the fitness director at the time was holding open up coach auditions at my club
Okay.
on a Saturday. So literally just invited anybody who wanted to be a coach in, didn't need to have any specific certification, just show up and show us what you can do, right? During that audition, those auditions, the fitness director, myself, and like 3 other employees were in my office, and the fitness director was actually talking badly about you
I remember that.
and your form. And so
Was she using me as like an example or something? Like, don't do it like she
yes,
does it.
correct. Yes, correct.
Was that when the comment about me not being a trainer came out?
Yes.
That I was a rock star. I was an actual
Yes,
trainer.
that's true.
At that time, I don't want to say an actual number, but I was one of the only employees that actually had a certification.
Yeah. Yeah, so easy.
Just gonna leave it up.
Easy. So anyway, I know we're gonna wrap up this
no
first little
feelings,
part,
but yeah, no, I love that. Yeah.
But so anyway, the CEO caught wind of that. And he used that as part of his ammunition when he decided to make a move, right? So that was one little check. Because there was a Zoom call that was that happened that myself and another employee that was in that meeting where we were being grilled about that conversation. So but I didn't know if you knew about that.
I did know that happened. I forgot the timeline of it. I just remember that comment stuck with me.
Yeah.
Oh, she's not a real trainer, she's a rock star.
Yeah.
Or a singer or something like that.
It was
not
a trainer,
she's a rock star.
Yeah.
Which I mean was true. I was in a band for a long time, but if you really want to define the word trainer, you want to find someone who is a certified personal trainer, which I was at the time. Also a certified sports nutritionist. I do believe I was sort of given a little bit more respect on the nutrition side of things from the fitness director, just because she didn't really care about nutrition. Like she just didn't, that wasn't her wheelhouse. She didn't care. But it had to be part of the programming. And so I think she was happy to recommend me. I never heard her say anything negative about my nutrition. It was always, she always referred to me as that. She would always say, and you make the nutrition stuff, you do the food stuff. This is the lady that you talk to about, because I just don't think she cared about that. Which is fine. It's fine to stick within what you're passionate about. And I was very passionate about nutrition. And for my entire stint at this company, I started the nutrition program for this company, and I was the head of it my entire time there at every position. And I loved it. That throughout that whole time at this company, I created the nutrition plans, I created nutrition challenges, I did all the nutrition coaching, I created menu plans, macro plans, I created entire supplement line for the company. I worked with the creators. I wrote the recipes, the nutrition labels. I don't know if they've changed the formula. If it's the same formula, I made that formula. I did the research. I knew exactly how many grams or milligrams of every single ingredient. I made those labels. Like, and I
bet a lot of
loved
you
it.
didn't know that.
And I loved it. And so, in fun fact, randomly over the summer, I kept getting phone calls and messages from a random supplement company up in Wisconsin that I had called to get a just like an estimate on what it would cost to order supplements from them. We eventually went with a different company, but just randomly this summer, he's just started calling me like 20 times. Finally, I called him back. I was like, "Hey, I don't work for this company anymore. You can stop calling me." But yes, I worked with, and I loved that part of my job. I love training too, but just working on the nutrition side of things, coming up with the supplements, making sure we had like protein and BCAAs that tasted really good and had really good macros and really excellent ingredients, was really like a passion of mine. So if you have ever used supplements from this company, if you know what this company is and you've used their supplements, I still think they tasted amazing. I think
Not the
macros were
very
good.
first ones, though. The
Not
very,
the-
very first ones.
I
that
never had
looked
anything to do with the vegan
That
ones.
looked brown when you mixed them up because they didn't.
No, I didn't do the plant-based one. We had a plant-based one that was not me. But I made all the other ones, and it was really enjoyable, and I really look back on that part of my job as being really fun. Also, we did and I'm not going to say what it was called because I just want to be sensitive to, we're talking about our experience and our friendship and how we met, and we're also talking about red flags to look for in gyms, in companies, in relationships, all of those things. But we're not here to throw like names under the bus or anything, but so one of the things that I look back on as one of my like best accomplishments was that I invented a challenge. And what I was thinking was I was doing a challenge called 75 Hard, and I wanted to do something like that in the gym. And I remember sitting down with the CEO of the company and saying, "I'm doing this challenge. It's called 75 Hard. It's really cool." I was thinking I would create a challenge for our gym because I thought, why not make it our own? And he lost his mind. He got so excited he started dancing around the office. I don't know if you remember that. It was up at Northland. And we were talking about it, and I was like, I want to create this for this company, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it in January. It's going to be amazing. Robin and I are going to test it out, and we're going to document this whole thing, and we're going to do this challenge, and then we're going to get the whole gym doing it, and they're going to make so much progress, and we'll do scans, and they'll lose so much weight and all this stuff. And he was just so freaking excited. This is actually great. This is so good. So I invite. We're gonna go late. I need to probably talk about this challenge on the next episode because this is actually reminding me of a lot of interactions that happened that I need to talk about. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
The little
actually
teaser.
in my head. I was like,
But I remember this is back when I worked at the first gym, and we're already all the way to Lee Summit. So we're going to backtrack. We're going to start by talking about this challenge. Literally, I still have ladies messaging me saying they'd never made as much progress as they did when they were on this challenge. And I'm a firm believer on challenges. Now, what I just said about the gym and longevity, that stands. Okay. So you can't just do 30-day challenges for the rest of your life, but firm believer in if you're in a place where you are lacking motivation and it's just hard for you to get going, doing an intense 30-day challenge, 7-day challenge, doing people always talk about like doing a fast or doing a cleanse. Do I believe that's a great way to have sustainable long-term weight loss? No. But if something like that is enough of a mental push for you to get motivated, do it. go for it. Do the 3-day fast, do the 7-day juice cleanse, do whatever gets you excited. Do the 30-day challenge where you track your macros or you follow a strict diet plan, even though you know that you can't maintain it. Just have that right mindset. I'm not maintaining this for life. This is just going to give me that push to get going. Like, if you're, trying to start like riding a bike when you're little and you just need that person behind you to give you that little push, that little momentum to get you going, and then you're going to settle into a steady rhythm, right? So next time we're going to talk about, we'll start by talking about the challenge and the success of that and the backlash that we got on the back end that really carried over and started some pretty intense rumors about our relationship that I'm just going to leave it at that. But when I tell you guys, you're going to be like, what? But yeah, we're going to talk about that next time. But I just want to close this episode by saying that I am so thankful there is one thing that I am thankful for with this whole experience, and that is where we are right now.
Same.
Like, I freaking have a tattoo for this girl. Like, hi. Like, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what would have happened if I would have never started working for this company. But I do know that because I started working for this company, I met her. And so you just have to look at circumstances, all of the circumstances in your life, whether good or bad, whether hard or, things that you were really blessed with, brought you to where you are right now. And where you are right now is you've learned lessons, you've gotten stronger, you've become more self-aware, you've met people in your life through those situations. And so to always just be thankful and grateful for what you have gone through, because it hopefully made you stronger, made you wiser, made you more self-aware, made you more aware and skilled at relationships, and also made you more aware of the boundaries that you need to set, and gave you the ability to see red flags and things like that. And so that's kind of where I want to leave it. Where do you feel like leaving this episode?
Listen, we've just been through it, right? We've been through it multiple times, but again, we would have never known each other had it not been for this specific gym, right? And I'm super grateful for that. And I can look back, and I'm almost a year out of it now, and we'll talk about that later on episodes. I'm almost a year out. But there's so much to be grateful for. And clearly. But even like we had that major falling out, right? We had a major falling out after she left. We've already talked about that. But we are better now than we've ever freaking been. We've worked through some, like, we are like good therapy sessions. The two of us. So
you know how you have friends and then you have good friends. And then you have family, and your family has seen you at your ugliest, and they've seen you when you're doing things that you shouldn't even be doing. They're seeing you when you're making bad decisions. And the reason they're family and the reason that they're so close to you is that they still love you, even as they watch you make bad decisions. And so I feel like we're getting to that point in our friendship where it's not just that we like being around each other. It's not just that we are ride or die. It's that we've actually seen each other like fall down some cliffs, and we're still there. Which is what this tattoo means.
We've also been super pissed off at each other, right? And there were moments, in my last little bit at that company where we were not speaking at all, and I thought, okay, she was just a chapter in my life. Like, I'll never have that back. But that's what that goes to prove what true friendship really is, right? Like, we couldn't be friends during that time for very specific reasons, but she was the first person I called when I got pushed out. So,
and what was my response? Immediately.
When can we meet? Let's have coffee.
Yeah.
Next day.
Yeah.
Very next day.
I mean, it just goes to show you, like, I did have a boundary at that point because I knew how bad that company was for my mental health. I mean, I can talk about my mental and physical health having worked at that company, and give you guys gruesome details, like, and I will if you want to hear them. But so I had to draw a boundary line at that point but it's like immediately as soon as there wasn't even an option, it was like, of course, yes, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So thanks for hanging with us, guys. I want you guys to reach out. Okay. So comment on this video, or, post a comment on Facebook, or DM us if you just have questions. If you have specific things you want us to talk about, or if you have questions that you just want answered behind the scenes and not put out there for everyone to hear, we're here for it. We will answer your questions. We're open books. We just want to make sure that we are
Trying to be respectful.
Yeah, we want to be respectful when it's like anything posted, because honestly, I still know and love so many people at this company.
Same. And we have
yeah.
friends who own really successful
Oh,
branches
1000%.
of this company.
Yeah, and they're hardworking and they're amazing people.
And they deserve to,
Yeah. And I mean, I want to say too, like, I am super impressed with the gym I work for now. F45 is amazing, but whatever gym you go to, there's gonna sometimes be like trainers that aren't that great. And it's not gonna hopefully reflect on the company as a whole. But then you'll have gyms that maybe you don't really like the gym, but you love the trainer. And so it's kind of like, just keep an open mind. It's really all about the people too. But then, if you're going to a gym and you're paying for a membership, it's also about the way that the gym is run. It's about the integrity behind things. It's about if they follow through with what they say they'll do. And it's about the workouts and, whether they're really caring about your actual progress and things like that, and not just making a buck at the end of the day. And so there's a lot that goes into it, but relationships are always tops. And that's why this is called the Best Friends Podcast. So we will be back with another episode very soon. And we're going to start by talking about the fitness challenge and all the drama behind it. So stay tuned.